Our Parashat Tisa, repeats a scene of Moshe Rabbeinu descending from Har Sinai with Luchot in hand. Of course, the first scene follows the sin of the golden calf and the breaking of the Luchot. The second scene follows a reconciliation, a new set of Luchot, and a new dynamic in the Machaneh. Symbolic of this change, Moshe Rabbeinu's appearance changes as well, radiating light, karan or panav, forcing Aaron and the elders and the people to retreat, and for Moshe Rabbeinu to sometimes wear a veil. In the minutes we have, I'd like to address the following questions. Number one, what is the source of this light? If it is Hashem Shechina, why does it appear suddenly after the second Luho? And two, when does Moshe wear this veil, this masfeh, and what does it symbolize? First question, why only after the second Luchot? One approach claims that in fact, nothing had changed. To be more precise, nothing with Moshe had changed. In fact, Moshe's face probably radiated light even after the first revelation at Har Sinai. Indeed, even the people's faces may have radiated that light. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat records the tradition that we merited crowns at Har Sinai, and Tosfot identifies these crowns as those of Hod, of glory, possibly this light. So what had changed? Not Moshe Rabbeinu, but the people had changed. As a result of the sin of the Chet HaEgel, their spiritual capacity had been diminished. Rashi, for example, laments the spiritual downfall of Aaron and his Kenim, the same people who had beheld God at Har Sinai, Vayiru et Elokei Yisrael, were the same ones to recoil at the appearance of Moshe Rabbeinu's light. The lesson of this approach, our actions have concrete consequences for our spiritual capacity. The second approach counters by claiming that not only the people had changed, Moshe Rabbeinu himself had changed, mirroring a change in the actual Luchot. Rabbi Sachs and others point to the Torah's emphasis on the contrast between the first Luchot, Ma'aseh Elokim Hema, fashioned and written by God, to the second Luchot, carved by Moshe Rabbeinu. Thus, Moshe Rabbeinu had changed because his role had changed. He was now a partner in the creation of the Luchot. The lesson, Rabbi Sachs writes, that the supernatural, in awakening from above, a hit ararut dile'ela, changes the universe. However, human participation in awakening from below, hit araruta diletata, changes us. The revelation of Ma'amad Har Sinai certainly changed the world's reality and Jewish history and world history forever. However, the people could still sin 40 days later. The first Luchot were of a divine product, yet they could be destroyed. On the other hand, the second Luchot, a product of Moshe's hand, along with his prayers and our tshuva, lasted. As a result of Moshe Rabbeinu's increased role, he had changed internally, and the light symbolized that change. On a side, Rabbi Bazak identifies a literary hint to this message. The Torah repeats the phrase Ma'aseh Elokim Hema, highlighting the divine nature of the Luchot, with the phrase Ki karan or panav also appearing 3 times, contrasting the divine composition of the Luchot to karan or panav, the change in Moshe's appearance reflected by his human role. From where did this light emerge? We have seen one opinion, an unsolicited gift from Hashem delivered by the Malachim. Shemot Rabbah records 2 other opinions. The light came from the cave at Har Sinai, an episode taking place with the second Luchot. 2, the light emerged from the ink with which Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the Torah. Hashem taught Moshe, and Moshe wrote the Torah, and it's that ink that is the source of the light. Perhaps both these approaches, certainly the second, highlights this human involvement. And it was Moshe Rabbeinu's human involvement in writing the Torah that created these karnei hod, these rays of light. Rabbi Yochanan in the Gemara in Masechet Gittin associates the new Brit, the one cemented by the second Luho, with Torah Ba'al Peh. And Rabbi Sachs continues that Torah Ba'al Peh is the ultimate symbol of our joint effort with Hashem to develop and transmit his Torah. Despite its divine origin, the written Torah, the Torah Shebichtav, is limited in time. The composition, however, of Torah Ba'al Peh continues to this day. So it is the second Luchot that symbolizes that not only Moshe Rabbeinu had changed, we had changed as well. Our role in the Masorah had changed. To conclude, according to several commentators, Moshe Rabbeinu wore this veil only when relating to the people in mundane matters. When he was teaching them Torah, he uncovered his veil, exactly as he uncovered this veil when speaking to Hashem, receiving Torah and prophecy. For there can be no distinction. The Torah received from Moshe from Hashem would be passed in exactly the same way to the people. We were partners now. Of course, this process would take centuries to take the form it takes now. However, the groundwork was laid for a less dramatic, yet more impactful, transformative relationship with Hashem. The lesson: to transform ourselves, to change ourselves internally, we need to take active roles in our avodat Hashem. Shabbat Shalom.